That's good to know.
Like,
Yeah. Hey, how are you?
Hey, Derek.
And we're on.
We're live.
Perfect. We'll see. I was expecting Kristen to be there too, so she will be. Who else are we missing? Scott. We'll give them just a couple more minutes and then we'll get started. Natalie is in.
Got it. Oh,
Which
hi,
we won't
Natalie.
call you
What's
that.
up?
We won't call you that.
You, Natalie?
The new
You
Natalie.
already called me that.
Okay.
It's okay.
Hi, Logan. Nice to see you again.
See you guys.
So, yeah. I wanted to quickly, because the only thing I think outstanding, I've got the canvas prints, but it looks like our trees were paid for already, our prizes, our programs, stickers and t-shirts,
I still have a check from Homeward Rural St. too.
too.
Oh,
Oh, beautiful. We'll need to get that. We'll drop it. I'm going to give it to me or drop it at City Hall.
Either way, you tell me.
Just make sure they know it's for the tree board. It's a sponsorship. Laura, whoever's at the front will
I
take that for
can
us.
do it.
That would be great.
Okay.
And then, where's our banner was paid for? I think there was everything. Okay, well, I'll just call this to order, and then if Krista gets here, that'll be great, and if not, also great. We're at 4:32, call us to order.
Somebody's coming in. Yeah, that's Krista.
We usually wrap here on time. I'll give them just a sec then. So do y'all slow down
Yeah, we slow down. Everybody's like catching up and closing like an experience. Right?
I know.
Right. Absolutely insane and then nothing.
Yeah.
Real great for my sleep.
Awesome. Hello. All right. I have called us to order, and hopefully, guys, we will not be here very long today because it's our last meeting. It's December. But call us to order, and I first of all want to say welcome officially to Logan to this December meeting.
How are you? All right.
Glad to have you.
I'm here.
And and then I guess I'll just motion for the minutes. Were emailed if anyone wants to make a motion to introduce those. What did you say? I'm
I
sorry.
said I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you.
Second.
Second, perfect. All in favor? Yay, great. Okay. And y'all bear with me. I'm going to try to take secretarial notes today while talking. We'll see how that went in the day. All right, so just quickly going through and looking at the financials, it looks like we have everything in except for the Arbor Day prints. They've been ordered, and the total was $186.71. I've just not received those and don't have the final invoice for it. But looking at the balances in the bank now, less all of our encumbered funds, which is the RDOT, the $400 we saved for the tree giveaway starting into next year, and then leaving the funds for the brick paver install, leaves us with $369.02. We got more money to spend. We got 30 days.
But we didn't overspend. Actually, we did a pretty good job.
And I think that's great. And double check, I've gone through everything, so, quick math, that looks like everything's been reconciled except for that one thing. And then I did have a question about mulch for the trees in Laurel Park. I didn't know if we needed to go back and do anything before winter for those trees.
So I do think it would be nice to put a little bit of mulch on the trees in Laurel Park, and then also the Milestones School, their grant project that I let everyone know about. It is underway. They removed the hazardous tree about a month ago, and then this past Saturday had a work day and they planted 3 new trees. So they could use some mulch and water bags. We said that we would provide water bags for those trees. So yeah, it looks like we might have enough money. We could just buy some bags of mulch and do it that way.
Sure can.
What was the hazardous tree? Just large and branches falling off
It
and
was
stuff?
a
or-
very large dying tree in the middle of the playground, so, yeah.
Alrighty.
You don't need limbs
Hazard.
falling off in
Yeah.
some
Be
kid's
hazard.
head.
And they received a grant from the ag department that basically paid for the tree removal, and the trees that are being replanted, and then they're matching that with some education and volunteer time and things like that.
So are we gonna play a role in that at some point with them? I mean, I know
So-
you are, but it's the tree board.
So they've had a couple of volunteer work days, but they didn't need like a ton of volunteers, and so they kind of had what they needed from this. Well, they have some different connections. I think in the spring they may do a bigger work day, and then we would definitely be able to help with that.
Good. Can't remember where I saw- Maybe they posted at UCA for the work day. I was
I
happy
think
to
that's
see
what
that
it
that
was,
going on.
which they-
Service learning.
Yeah, they just got a few volunteers from UCA, but they've had a relationship with UCA for a while.
That's
Is
great.
the mulch and water bag stuff we need to do like now?
Pretty soon, yeah. I mean, the mulch for sure would be good to do soon, and just the water bags, might as well have them ready. Even though I realize we're getting plenty of rain.
Water.
It actually worked great, that is a little bit of a side, but they planted the trees on Saturday, and of course it rained all day Friday, and I was worried that it would be muddy, but it was actually perfect. They got watered in with this rain, so.
All right. So I know we have old business. We don't really need to go through that. I'm just keeping this all on here because these are things that are not completed yet. So RDOT, no updates to share. Installation date for the celebration tree pavers. I do, when we look at our calendar planning, let's figure that in with one of our events kind of early in the spring. Or actually, do you know when Conway Corp will be finished at Laurel Park? Are we
I'm
waiting on that?
not sure, but I can check and have that the next meeting.
Do you have a date?
I'm not sure either.
Okay, then maybe we'll pause on that and wait for the Conway Corp. If you wouldn't mind giving a date for that for us, maybe at next meeting, and then we'll get that set up. I jumped and said that quickly and then remembered we're waiting on work to be finished. Okay, and then we know the new board members have not been decided yet, and I shared this with Kyle earlier, and I'll say it again now that we're all here. There was a little bit of confusion at the end of the last meeting about did we or did we not need that professional horticulturist position? And I kind of stammered, but that's not Krista's position. She's our ex officio, right, advisor, extension office. And so the professional horticulturalist and the 2 member at large positions are indeed what we need. So those 3. So just a quick clarification on that. Arbor Day, I already talked about the canvas prints are due. As soon as they come in, Derek, I'll bring them to you guys so those can be hung again. But the winner prizes have already been taken to the extension office and they've all been notified. So all the winners have their prizes have been notified and just waiting to pick those up. Let's see, so for today, I'm hoping we're actually not taking too much of y'all's time. This is a December meeting, but I did want to go ahead and let's take a look at, what are the quarterly things that we know that we are either recurring or that we know that we need to accomplish for next year. And look at our calendar for what we would like to do for that. And then the only other thing for today is there's the environmental science capstone project. And we don't have to actually answer any of this today. I did send you guys an email, but if there's any feedback, I know I received some from Scott and Krista, but if y'all have any feedback about that project, we'll maybe talk about that a little bit at the end too. And so for now, really, I guess, unless there's anything else, we can just kind of talk about next year.
Let's do it.
I don't think I got the email you sent about the capstone project.
I didn't either.
Okay, let me send it. Well, there were questions. I will send this one. This particular one is from Matt Connolly, and he'll be one of the overseers of the project. And he wrote down just some course overview, thoughts, and questions. So I will forward all that back out to everyone if y'all did not.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Every once in a while, my lungs get irritated for a minute, and it's like, okay, thanks, lungs. I quit smoking almost 5 years ago, but thanks.
Look, you would be able to cough that clearly had you still smoked, so it's a good thing. All right. Okay. So looking at 2023, I know the first day hike did not happen for us this year. That's typically a state park initiative, but it's great when we're able to get out with everyone in the first of the year. So
I don't know why we didn't do it this past
I
year.
think it just flew by us. We're like, oh, it's,
Might have fallen at a weird time or something.
yeah.
I mean, it's always January 1st, but.
And so looking at the, and for those of you, does everyone know about first day hike?
I don't know what that is.
I'm like, and it's okay to say no. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's
sure.
just kind of a tradition of going on a hike on January 1st is like a healthy way to start the new year.
Oh, okay.
And I think we've only done a group hike once, and that was in 2020 because that was before COVID.
Just before.
it was a
And we
big
did
group of
it
people.
at Cadron Settlement Park, so
Yeah.
City Park, and it had like
I
at
was gonna say,
least
wasn't it
60
pretty-
people.
There was a lot
It
of
was
people.
good. It was good.
Yeah.
Um,
It's great.
It was the first time we'd done that, and then the next year was COVID year, so we just like encouraged people to go out on their own, and then I can't remember last year. Wait a minute, was that last year? No, that was 2021.
It's hard to keep up.
They all blur.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
yeah.
so the first is on a Sunday.
Mhm.
I mean, I think I would be okay with doing it at Cadron Settlement again. It doesn't take that much. I mean, we make a Facebook event and cross promote with parks. And see who shows up.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
I mean, if you're
Sounds
down
fun
for
to
doing
me.
it, I would love to do it too.
And we
It's a
always
great
do
crowd.
like weather cancels,
Yeah.
you know, like if it's raining or snowing or whatever.
Yeah.
But,
What's that? What is it called? First day hike?
first day hike, yep. We can look at what we did in 2020. I think we might have done it like at 1:00 or 1:30, kind of early
Later
afternoon, like, yeah, let people sleep late.
Well, it's cold, so it'll be,
And it's
if
cold.
we let the sun come up for, a few hours, it'll be nice, a little warmer, hopefully.
I'm gonna show up looking like the abominable snowman. I don't like to be cold, just so y'all know.
It's great.
Okay, so
Is
event
everybody
number
good?
one.
All right.
Sounds
that's-
great.
That's January. Check. Look at us, starting strong right out of the gate. All right. So then, we also looking at the dates, March, is it the 3rd? March 21st, is that Arkansas Arbors Day or national? No, that's International Forestry Day.
March 20th should be Arkansas
Arkansas.
Arbor Day.
Okay.
It's on, yeah, and that is the Monday of spring break, which is usually how it falls.
So I didn't know if we wanted to do something, so, there are multiple Arbor Days. So Conway's is November 5th. Arbor Day's actual Arbor Day is April 28th, or it's like the 4th Friday. Right.
Actually, I think in 2023, it's November 4th.
I'm sorry, did I say November 5th? It's the first Saturday in November. It's November 4th. I apologize. But looking at like the Arbor Days, we've got March 21st. It looks like we'll have like an April 27th or 28th, and then again, November 4th. So those are kind of just so we all know, those are kind of the key Arbor Days throughout. So I didn't know if we wanted to hit anything particular on those specific dates or around them.
So last year we did the tree planting at McGee, which I don't remember what, I could look back
That
and
was
see
the
what
UCA
date we
big
had.
event. That was the big event that we did.
Yeah, the day we were supposed to do it, it got snowed out.
That's
Yeah, so, which could happen again. And then, but I don't think we'll have trees like that to plant, like those were given to us. So, but we could do the tree giveaway sometime around there and just say that it's an Arbor Day celebration.
And that was gonna be my question, is should we go ahead and do that in March so people can get those into the ground?
Yeah, March is a good time.
So.
Earlier is actually better. And honestly, like if we could do it, maybe even like, on St. Patrick's Day, would that be weird?
And I
was
think
thinking
didn't
the
we do
Friday
free
before
tree
spring?
Fridays were in March, weren't they?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were.
And I think we did like March.
We did a Friday. St. Patrick's Day could be fun because green and trees.
It goes together.
And then people get their trees and they've got spring break to plant them with their kids. It's kind of what I was thinking. So, but it'll all kind of depend on when we get trees.
And so that was my next question. So I know Missouri had sold through their trees, and then I looked at Balkum's trees yesterday, and there's
I'm gonna call Bacham because I was looking at it also, and I'm gonna call them. I know they have more trees than they're.
But it said like to be an out or like check back, or so I didn't know if they were holding them, if they're really gone. So you'll follow up.
I think we
with that,
can get some trees.
because that'll be the biggest.
And Missouri still had a few things that were interesting, like some Kentucky coffee trees, which could be worth. You can't get those from Bacham.
And then my other thought is, do we ever go south at all to acquire some trees? Because if we're getting a little, would it be best to go look at something a little bit more southern of us, since we're getting a little more
Because of climate.
heat and a little more.
I mean, that is actually what kind of horticulturalists are advising on like a larger scale, but most of our nurseries, I mean, Bachum's local, but and Missouri is from Missouri, but most nursery stock comes from south of us anyway.
Okay, all right.
Fair enough.
That's where the nurseries are.
So you'll check with the nurseries, but so do we want to say tentatively we'll do the March 17th?
Let's shoot for March 17th for the tree giveaway. But we'll have to see what Bacham can.
Has availability. We could also do 2 tree giveaways. If we don't have access to as many in the beginning of the year, we could do something in the spring and then try to do a later fall too.
The problem with fall is you won't get the bare roots.
Ceiling, okay,
You would have to find potted trees.
and they're more expensive, obviously. Okay. 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 So what else? In the spring, so we did the free tree giveaway, and then we did a spring tree planting. So obviously we won't have as many trees, but I do possibly have some funding for some other trees. So I didn't know if we wanted to do a tree planting, maybe start a grove at Fifth Street Park or Fifth Avenue Park. Or if there is a location that y'all would like for us to plant.
Gatling Park doesn't have a whole lot, I mean, it's got a lot of open space over there.
So we've had members of the public request trees along Tucker Creek, along the trail.
Yeah,
I don't know.
which we were talking about doing last year too, but
It's always a matter of making sure that they have access to get in on what they need to do for the trees on the banks.
Well, yeah,
That's
and you
on
don't
this
want
and then
to, yeah, you don't want to cause a problem, and
Right.
especially if there's any changes that are going to be.
So, I don't know, if you want to look at a location, like we always
I
look
mean,
to
we're-
you, Derek, there are other
Yeah.
departments in the city we can ask.
Well, and yeah, I mean, if there, just is there a place that you would like trees?
And
And
like,
something you
On
can
Tucker
think
Creek,
along, or
what are
anywhere.
you saying anywhere?
Anywhere.
Oh, yeah, there's lots of places we can.
and I know we've been talking about Fifth Avenue, which is why I said that, but
Yes, whenever we come back in January, I'll provide a couple of locations. that we
Yeah,
really
so
like.
that's what I'm thinking. Is
okay, perfect.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
You will do that, and then we'll try to set that for sometime in.
Well, and the other thing is, you know, a few of the trees died at Conway Station. So we could look at replacing those also.
Okay.
Although that would be better to do in the fall if we're doing larger potted trees.
Okay. We could go ahead.
But yeah, if you would just come up with some priority planting areas for the upcoming year, I think that would be great.
And then same thing, and I know Kyle, there will be some changes. actually, we can pause for a minute, and Kyle, if you wanna share, there's some changes.
Yeah, sure. So our director of planning, James, is going to be leaving, so we will be getting a new director in the coming months. I don't know the exact time frame. I would imagine probably late January, most likely. So yeah, there will be a few changes, and I'll still be here, but we'll probably back off the big projects for a couple months while we kind of regroup and get used to our new leadership. So.
You know, I wonder with the idea of priority planting areas, you know, we're always looking at public property and we've got Derek from Parks on the board, so that's easy to ask, but like, there's also like street, you know, I don't know if there are any needs along any city streets or that, if it would make sense to ask some of the other departments if
Yeah, I
they
would say
have
you can
places
certainly-
Yeah,
that
let's
they would
do
like
that.
to see trees.
Seriously,
Good
why
idea.
not?
Well, that's what, I'm not sure what the best way to do that, especially since I know there's you know, you are going through change right now. What is the best way for us to ask that kind of information? Like, I know, will Conway Corp pass some stuff and then city?
Well, I guess if you're thinking along the streets, I would probably reach out to transportation and see what their thoughts are. So probably either Kurt Jones, he's probably the best person to reach out to. I think Jacob at Streets Department also does a fair amount with stuff like that. So I would say one of the two of them.
Who planted the trees along Markham? Like the new,
Wasn't that Conway Corp, or, sorry, Chamber?
the chamber?
I think so.
There's a bunch of those that are big, so.
Yeah, unfortunately.
They need to have their straps removed.
Well, I'm going to meet with the chamber on Wednesday. Would you like me to bring that up?
There are quite a few things as far as tree care that could be done over there.
Let's email and I'll
I
put a
would be
list.
happy to meet with somebody over there and give some directions even.
You can come with me. I'll tell you the details.
I would love to do something in that MLK Park, at some point next year, whether it's a fun.
Well, we never did
tree
just our little
planting, tree
tour.
day, or-
You know, just a little walking
The tree
tour,
ID
I
walk.
think would be really cool.
There's a lot of
Just,
things to identify.
I think that would be really
The-
beneficial.
well, and just to talk about what the park's actually doing.
Yeah.
So I think just having a walk.
and
I
it's-
could see doing that like around Earth Day.
I was gonna say that or that April 28th Earth
Mhm.
Week, and then that'll coincide with another Arbor Day, and it should be wet, so they'll be able to probably see some action. The park is there for.
Or lack thereof in downtown, which is what the point is.
Yeah. So, so maybe a tree ID walk?
Well, and actually more than just ID, I think just,
Educational.
yeah, I don't know how to, like, something just about kind of tree benefits, you know, or how urban trees.
Help with all manner of things.
So, yeah, well, there's a lot. We can-
Water retention and
So we'll,
air
yeah, we'll
quality.
kind of think about what we should call it.
Maybe green infrastructure or something like
Yeah.
that.
Oh, see, I like that. That'd be a really good idea, because that was a really big deal and I didn't hear much about it.
Garbage over there.
Well, when you're really into it, you just call it GI.
So we want to shoot for maybe in April, something on that. Earth Day-ish. So I think Earth Day is going to be the 21st. And then I forget which of the Arbor Days that is. It's the 28th, right? The fourth Friday. It's- Okay.
And again, that's, you know, that won't take long, the actual tour. So I mean, I think it's just like a little like 1 hour morning walk maybe.
Okay. All right. Well, that'll bring us to May, which we might have some exciting stuff with the climbing competition.
I haven't heard from them again, but They are looking at Conway for the state tree climbing competition, and it would be I guess it would be May 5th and 6th, which is also Toadsuck, right? Isn't it?
And UCA's graduation, because I was going to reach out to UCA, and I bet Hendrix is very similar, so I thought maybe we would be better suited to stay on city property instead of asking for support
Yeah.
with that.
They've had we're having a little bit of a hard time finding a location because they're pretty specific in what they needed. I'm trying to get them to look at Don Owens actually, because there's some
They're
big
on that hillside back here on the front.
down by the dog park. Yeah, that I feel like there might be some bigger trees because they need big oak trees.
And I reread, so it says
And
they
it's a
need
certain
8
number. They need
hardwood.
like 5 or 6.
8 is what I read.
It was
In
8.
your first, it said 8 hardwood trees and then parking for 60 people.
Yeah, the parking is one of the hard things. But Don Owens would be so nice because you have bathrooms and everything you need. But I don't know what else would be going on that weekend on a Saturday in May. A lot.
It's Toadsuck
Toadsuck.
weekend. There'll be actually, y'all have a tournament, don't you? Toadsuck, that's gonna be packed. That's right. So, and I know Beaver Fork, they said there's too many pine trees. Gatlin Park was a potential except for parking.
They said there wasn't enough parking.
However. I'm sorry, can we park at the park? Park in the park?
Well, and they don't, because they're from out of town, and so they don't know that like Gatlin connects to Pompey Park, which there's new parking going in there. So I don't know.
And are y'all, we just started talking, are y'all aware of what we're talking about? The tree climbing competition for arborists. So this is like the natural state tree climbing competition, and it's for professional arborists, right? So they go up and do maneuvers like they would do work. They have like different challenges, and it pulls. As I was reading, I actually accidentally got on Georgia's tree climbing, and they were talking about where's the next one, and somebody said, where is it in Arkansas? And I thought, well, we're working on it. I didn't put it on there. But I was like, oh, this is like national, it pulls.
It's a pretty
There's
big
a
deal,
circuit.
yeah.
And it'd be great, probably recognition for the city too, to host an event like this when I saw that it pulled from a pretty big region.
Good
So.
hardwoods in Cattern Settlement, and you have your parking there too, and there'd be no conflict with events. You have bathrooms there.
We could look at Cadron Settlement. Would they be kind of, so, I mean, I just think about it being wooded. They're used to being in kind of more park-like settings where it's like mowed, but if there were some kind of on the edges.
I'm sitting here thinking, what's up there at the top? Where the cabin
Yeah.
is. I don't know what trees are up there.
It's
But see,
lot
that's a
of
pretty
cedars.
green, is it?
Yeah, a lot of cedars up there, but we can look at it. They actually thought that the Conway Library might work, and that like shocked me.
Back behind?
Yeah. Because
It's open back there.
when I thought about it, like I know of one big oak tree, but then I went back there and I'm like,
There's
oh,
several.
okay, there are more than I
Yeah,
realized. There's not enough parking, but I wondered if Bell Urban might let us use their overflow lot.
For something like that, I bet they would,
Yeah.
So
especially if they're open.
I can ask him and Zach if they would mind that, if y'all want to consider that position too, or location before.
That'd be a great place.
It's centrally located, but it's
Yeah,
not exactly
absolutely.
downtown for.
well, and they
Excited for that.
really the climbing competition loves the idea of doing it in Conway because of the colleges. They'd love to have young people, realize that this is a profession that they might want to go into. We need more professional arborists. So
And I like that, because I was like, oh, I'll reach out to UCA. And then I started looking at graduation dates. I'm like, oh, that is probably not a great idea. Because I know logistics for parking and all of that's already kind of a big deal. But I would like for us to stay somewhat in town. So if we wanted to gain some people from, the gift of having all of the folks in town that weekend would be that we might could pull some people if we stayed a little closer in town instead of like Cadron,
I
which
see what you're saying.
whatever, either way is great, but my thought was we might get some residual kind of attendance based off of everyone else. Anyway, all right, so we're thinking library.
Then they can go to toad suck days.
It could, I mean, they'd have evening, like, so the participants even would have evening entertainment with Toad Suck, like, it could be really nice.
And I saw, so it is that competition Saturday, Sunday, but it looks like they have to come in and do gear, so they'll do setup and get the teams ready, it looks like on Friday, right? And then
I think
they'll do
that's right,
Saturday,
yeah.
Sunday.
Have you
Usually they
know,
do
walking
I think they do kind of a training that's part of, and that's on Friday, I think.
And then, okay. Now Gatlin, do we wanna have them look at that again?
I think I want them to look at it, because I'm not sure they understand how it all
We
works.
can work with you, yeah. And then the other play, we said Cadron, and was there somewhere
Do we
else
know
you
when
mentioned?
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Do we know when the Pompey Park construction will be done? I'm sure you get that question all the time. Before
we-
May? Depends on
Hopefully.
weather.
Are there trees down there that would make that a suitable?
I don't know if they're enough. But if they could park some of the vehicles down there. I don't know.
Okay.
And like they maybe only saw the parking lot
The
that's
little
right
small one.
on Tyler and not the one that's more, that's in,
Actually in the park.
yeah.
Yeah, there's two right there.
Do you think there are 60 parking places between the two?
Probably not.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's exciting. I hope we can make that happen. Great. So that'll be May 6th through 8th. Okay. Send to summer. How are we doing on time? 5:02. Look, we're halfway through the year. Doing good. Gonna be out of here 10 minutes, hopefully.
What about
All right.
Echo Fest? Are we doing anything with them?
So, well, I'm not sure what this was kind of their last year to do that.
Ah, okay.
And then they're reevaluating. They'll come back in some form.
And there's also yoga in the park that we've done a few times if we wanted to try that again. I don't know.
But people really like that in the summer. My suggestion would be, because it's so easy, it really would get an instructor to go to the park and do yoga. If we could do like 2 or 3 of them, right, in the do a summer series, because
That's
I feel
originally
like
what I
everyone's like,
wanted
we
to
love this, we want to come back, and then we don't do it. We do it like one time a year.
Mhm.
What if we do 3?
So I was
The
thinking,
months
what
of
if we
summer.
did,
Can that be our summer thing?
Can we
we
have
do
the-
3?
Can we have the park 3 times, once a month for June, July, August?
Yeah.
Are we gonna melt? Hot yoga in the park.
In the evening, it's
May,
not
June,
bad.
July?
May,
I would,
June.
I think I would go May, June.
May, June, July?
I think that'd be nice, and that'd be easy to organize.
Yeah, that's always just kind of a fun, soft something to do.
And it's better to have low pressure events in the summer.
It's not
'cause
yoga in the park,
everybody's
it's
so
yoga under the trees.
That's the important part. And then,
That happens to be in a park.
Which I actually think that would be fun at Cadron, overlooking the
Up there at the top, that'd be fantastic.
Wouldn't that be awesome? Which if you did 3, you could do 3 different parks even.
I think
I
we
think you should
should
do
do
that. I
3
agree.
different locations.
where,
Well,
do you need us to
park
highlight any part, like, do you need us to bring people to?
I was about to
any
say, from a
parks?
park standpoint, for sure, Cadron.
Okay.
I agree, Laurel, since we've already done it there.
5th Avenue?
Maybe Fifth Avenue. I would say Fifth Avenue, or I'm biased toward Lake Beaver Fork, but I know that's kind of
Oh,
out
Beaver
there.
Fork would be pretty
Yeah, I
fun
love
too.
Beaver Fork.
You can do it out there. There's an island that's out there.
Mhm.
You could do
It's
it there. That's a
covered
little
in goose.
bit. We could clean it up for that.
I've been out there enough, I
Short
know, it's
times.
kind of like, ugh.
So,
Yeah.
Short times.
Do y'all like Beaver Fork? Do we want to do that? Think we'd get some folks out to Beaver Fork?
There's another little spot that would be good. That'd be.
Less goosey.
We're trying to solve that problem, by the way.
Okay.
It's been an ongoing one, but
Dogs.
there's so many rules and regulations for what you can and can't
I
do.
bet.
Yeah.
Federal bird.
Oh.
Well, that's why we've got the E. coli and
Ah,
everything.
trust me.
Okay, just
We love it
curious.
when that makes clues.
Yeah,
I bet y'all
I hate that.
love
These strange lighting things that would keep them at bay and all kinds of, we've looked at all kinds of stuff. I'm all for the old fashioned way, but they seem to frown on that.
Wolves to let the old fashioned
The old fashioned way seems to be frowned upon. So.
I really like that idea. That's an easy summer thing. Low pressure, low planning.
Yep.
I like
Yep.
it. And then that gives us time to go for Arbor Day again.
Yeah. Okay, and then, I mean, that's gonna put us in back to school September, October.
Which
I
is
mean,
Arbor
we're
Day
already-
planning.
Yeah, so I think, and then just November 4th will be our Arbor Day for this year. And I would love to do a late fall planting. So the one thing we've not done is gotten any trees in the ground. I know we'll talk about
Well,
that.
there's
So-
time
so
to
that's
figure that out.
Hard to
Yeah.
plan for,
Yeah.
so we've got to have the supplies.
Yeah, we've gotta know, what we're gonna
We
have.
could do a
before we can
spring
decide where to
planting and a
plant it.
late fall planting, even if there's some detention pond, we've kind of talked about where, if there are some of those ponds that we know we need to get around our streets or whatever, if there's some locations in the park we can get in, would be great.
Well, even some of the schools might like.
So I
Trees
saw
in.
a school with a new parking lot and a new pond with a house that's totally exposed to the school and probably.
I mean, the
homeowner
ag,
in the school.
the ag
Want
department
Want some
does.
natural barriers.
I was like, it may be lovely for everyone to get some trees around that, so I could reach out,
Well,
or if you wanna.
the ag department does their shade trees
Shade.
on playgrounds program, which, I mean, it might be worth us reaching out to Conway schools to ask about their needs or wants, and then we can help apply for that program,
Okay.
which it's in the fall.
I like the idea of reaching out to transportation too, for all those.
Yeah.
I got a list of dead trees on the streets.
Well, part of what we talked about last month was, asking the mayor, city council what they want us to do, so asking other departments is a good part of that.
Well, and we talked about surveying department heads as far as the management plan also.
So just year-end surveys, it's back on the list. What do we want to do? So we talked early on about reaching out to Conway Corp Department, anyone who kind of works with trees and seeing what kind of support, what's important to you guys, what kind of support we can offer, so that we can better work with you. And support where you guys are working in terms of projects. And so that's part of this year-end survey I was hoping we'd kind of. So what I'll do is just start drafting one, we'll kind of bounce it around and see if that's.
Yeah,
what
I
we
think
like
that
and
would be the
phone
way to
call.
do it. And I think because this will be the first time they see something like this, we may,
Call first.
call first, but also, I mean, how we do the
Definitely
survey, like how we write the survey might be important, like kind of giving some ideas of some ways that we may be able to provide assistance. Because when you just say, what assistance do you need from the tree board?
Sure. Yeah, okay.
That's fair.
So we will work on that too, and hopefully we'll have something maybe by January to share. Okay. The other thing we had talked about is an invasive species cleanup, and I think that would really be helpful, and it looks like that typically happens kind of fall, late fall, like for the woody.
It's a good time to apply herbicides to invasive woody plants. Yeah.
So would that be something we would want to take on? And again, that we'd probably need some help from you guys, Derek, or some of the department, like
Identifying a
Kyle,
location. that
where would
needs
be a
it.
good location that would be helpful? Yeah.
I'd like to see us remove the Bradford pears on park property. McGee Center.
Oh,
There are probably some others too, but I know there's some at McGee.
there'd be people that would be so upset.
I know.
'Cause there's-
But it's
because
an
we're
educational opportunity.
Well, honestly, though, there's so many different people, like at lunch, if you'll go over there at lunchtime,
It's the only shade.
yeah, they'll pull in
Because there
right there
aren't other
next to it.
trees,
and
except
they're-
what we
Wanna touch
planted, which
Yeah,
aren't.
the
We
shade.
don't want to touch that. I mean, I would
Yeah.
say right now, I would say
I mean,
that's the
that's,
only,
because there's some people that literally, you go out there at lunch, they're out there almost every day
Yeah.
using those trees.
It's not good press for the-
Without replacing, that would be a difficult thing.
So perhaps we start education where it's a little fuller. Is there another place
They
that's kind
cut
of
down the tree
saturated
board.
with? Is there another location for Bradford pears though? Because that is a good idea. For the
Oh, I
That's
mean,
one of
they're
the
all over
primary.
privets or something.
probably,
I know that the schools have a bunch of them,
the schools have a lot.
but I don't think we have that many, do we?
I can't think of a lot that is on, that
The
are on.
McGee Center
The
is.
McGee Center is the only one I can think of right now.
I'm with you, I'm not really on breakfast.
What about privets?
Privet is everywhere.
It's like we have all
There are a
of
lot
it.
in my
Well, and I'm
neighborhood.
starting to see popcorn trees, it's
Poplars?
another name. I'm blanking on the other name. Popcorn tree is
Popcorn tree?
Poplar?
yeah, it's not a
Not
poplar,
poplar.
it's
I like poplars.
but I'm seeing that, I see them actually along the creek by the new trail. Off
Stone down.
yeah.
Or even Conway Corp Logan. I don't know if y'all want to ask.
Chinese
if there's
tallow
someone-
tree.
Yeah, Chinese tallow. I should have known that. I'm just reading. If there's a place that you guys will be doing some work or invasive species, so I keep saying city, but if y'all are doing some work on public property that y'all would like us to come in and do some, we could do that too.
We can plant underneath the power lines, we can do all kinds of.
No.
That's why I'm here, to make sure.
Or maybe we don't want to do that, actually. Are those difficult to plant, like because that requires equipment, tools? Herbicides?
It depends, yeah, it's a little bit harder. Might be able to get, Arkansas Forestry Division has done some work with Little Rock Parks on Chinese tallow tree removal in
I have to
in
do
that
this.
Two Rivers Park.
Mhm.
It was really bad there.
Mhm.
So I don't know, like I know they're like Fayetteville does some public, but you can also just do more of like a demonstration project, where you have professionals do more of it, but then just, make sure that you let people know what you're doing and why you're doing it. Yeah.
Well, then I know I saw some around when they were doing the Keep Arkansas Beautiful campaigns, and they do the county cleanups and things. I saw some that way, and that would help provide some of the supplies for like volunteers, because I know they do give all the supplies for it, like the bags and things like that. So that might help if we can partner with them or either forestry. Just put that on your radar.
You don't like them because they're an invasive species?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct. They're one of the prettier invasive species.
They are.
The pictures are pretty.
They're really pretty.
I was curious.
but
Okay,
they're
okay.
Awful.
Especially in the fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, bright red.
And is there anything else we want to?
I'll touch base with Forestry Division about if there's any kind of invasive species work that, if they have ideas of projects or how we can accomplish something.
Okay. You want me to reach out to Keep Arkansas Beautiful or no? Or wait?
Yeah, I think they're pretty easy. I mean, they're very set in what they can do for us.
Supplies, let's say,
Yeah.
all the, okay.
Okay.
Alrighty then. Okay, what time is it? 5:14. So, I don't want to keep us here unnecessarily, but we did talk about, and to take us, you were not here, but we talked early on in the year about having a capstone project with UCA environmental science students, and we had met with Matt Anderson and GIS, and we talked about some tree canopy analysis and things like that. And so we know we want to do something similar, similar as we discussed, because we know we need the information. They typically, the environmental science students are working close to water as well and looking at that. So I was thinking maybe on like Tucker Creek, Stone Jam Creek. Some canopy analysis were some of my ideas, but I don't know if y'all want to look at that. And talk about that now or send some feedback. I do need to get them a response by, the next week or two, some kind of just basic information, and then we'll have more conversations in January. City planning won't have to have a responsibility in this as long as they have someone to work with, which we can do that,
Oh, yeah.
partner with them, right? So that wouldn't fall heavily into the city planning department. I did, maybe not so coincidentally, see Matt Anderson this weekend at the Art Walk, which he and his partner were very talented. That was lovely. But he had talked about, he would be interested in helping support that a little bit, not taking too much of his time, but he said he does have some and would be willing to help support in any way that he can. And sometimes that's just to touch base and give an exposure to students, this is a possibility of something that we can do. So I was glad that he had some interest and would support that.
Yeah.
Because I know you are going to be really busy with your
Yeah.
new director and all of that. So, so it looks like we might have some support from him. Any initial thoughts about, is there anything y'all would like for us to look at or share in
Honestly,
terms of parks?
I had kind of thought planning would give us some ideas on what would be the most beneficial, but know that they're going through a lot right now. So when I saw that email immediately, I thought they could probably give us some insight. But
Yeah. And Scott had some really great ideas. So in fairness, I will send to you guys too, so I don't expect.
Sure.
So Scott had put some ideas and all that. So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
I don't have any feedback to give you
I
on
know
that
you
yet.
don't have any feedback to give me. I'm so sorry.
No.
It's okay. And there's not enough time to probably do this right now, unless Krista, you have some insight into it. But we can just kind of table this for now through email communication. Maybe I'll get together if y'all just promise to kind of respond,
He's
give me
got
some
good
ideas by the
questions
end of
on
the week of anything we might want to do. Does that sound fair?
sounds good.
Email by the end of the week.
And we could talk about it internally too, see if
Yes.
anything comes up.
You said you talked with Matt Anderson. That's the GIS.
GIS.
Okay, took me a minute.
Sorry, because Matt Conway is also,
I'm-
Matt Conway is the geography.
Because I'm like, we need to talk with the GIS specialist whose name is
Matt Anderson. That's why I said, not so coincidentally. I'm like, I know you from where? And he told me, I was like, oh, okay. So,
Oh, yeah.
I could see, the capstone student working with him some. I mean, I don't know what the skills of the student will be.
and that's what I said, we just need kind of an idea, like really what's most important to us is really, I think, what they're wanting to know. And
I don't think that I mean, it's supposed to be pretty hands-off, like
Mhm.
it's very much student-led, but they just might need a little bit of like touching base with somebody who knows how things work.
So it's really just picking a location.
well, it's picking a location and it's picking our priorities. So is it, what do we want to look at? Do we want to look at kind of the impacts in terms of water runoff? I know when we first talked last time, we looked at getting some good canopy cover analysis over different types of land use and where it can be developed, where it cannot be developed, or starting a baseline so we can start layering and get some historical information, right? Because I think it's been a very long time since we talked about it, but there was something done several years ago. That if we
Matt
could
had
do
some
it
good
now-
ideas last, and I feel like I need to go back and look at
Yeah.
because he sent us some maps and things
Mhm.
even.
And then when we first spoke to you guys too about this, we had different skill sets on the board too. So we had Canton Ford, and he was going to offer up a lot of support for that. And I know Krista, we just lean on you for a whole lot of stuff because you're like the other professional tree person on the board. So I'm stammering and I'm going to stop for now because we had talked about several things. We had different skill sets on the board, so we weren't really requiring as much from the capstone or from the city, and now it's going to be a little bit different with the makeup. You know, we don't really even know who all we're gonna have on the board yet, so let's look at that. I will send you guys ideas. I will send you this little bit of information. I promise to have that to you in the next 48 hours. And then if, you know, or the next week, maybe take some time to review and send me your information so I can get it forwarded to UCA before we go to break. Would be good. So I will do that. And I think, unless anyone has anything else, we're gonna call this. And January 9th, I did correct it on here, but in your email, I put January 2nd would be the next meeting, but that's city holiday, makes sense. So January 9th will be our next meeting.
Okay.
Just so you guys know, we can put that on the calendar. And was there anything else anyone else wants to discuss before we call it? Motion to adjourn, 5:20, second, always ready.